got a great start of the weekend. Men won last night and women won, and certainly pulling hard for them on Sunday. Baseball won. We had our coaches clinic, and it went outstanding. We had a great turnout. Appreciate all the coaches coming and all the speakers that we had. And, of course, last night Brett Favre spoke and did an amazing job. We had a standing ovation for him and just gave us a lot of insight on his career. He also was the offensive coordinator at Oak Grove High School in Hattiesburg and won a state championship his second year. And so he gave us a lot of insight on his experience with that, which was really, really awesome. So really neat to have him come to South Carolina. We've got practice 8 in the books today. It was kind of a half practice, half scrimmage. Went out there and I think got a lot of good things accomplished today. We got the coaches off the field, let the players play. Right now, we had about 75 scrimmage snaps, live snaps, which we needed, and we counted on about 40, and I was kind of pleased with the tempo and some things we were doing, so we kept on going. So we got a long way to go, but we certainly are much improved from where we were, and we're better on the offensive skill, although we do have some guys out. Rodriguez Davis had sports hernia surgery, so he'll miss the rest of spring. Disappointed for him. He's going to be a really good football player for us, and he's had some soft tissue issues we're working through. Chris Lamont sprained his foot. He'll be fine. He'll be back next week. Sky had an ankle today. He'll be back next week. Brian Edwards and Ortre Smith have been limited but have been partaking in most of practices and been pleased with both of those guys. We just got to get our offensive skill all together on the field at once there. That's what's been a little frustrating offensively. Defensively, need to continue to come up front and improve. I've been pleased with the play of Sky and Bryson Allen and TJ for the most part, and we've got more competition in the secondary than we've had, which certainly helped us. I think the kicking game, there's been some positive things that I've seen. We're just far too inconsistent, snapping it, kicking it, and punting it. So that's just disappointed today for the first time in the stadium that we didn't punt it more consistently. We'd hit a great one, both Joseph and Michael. And Alex that did some nice things kicking field goals, but we've got to get much, much more consistent. That's the frustrating part right now. But our guys have had a good energy. They've come out and worked extremely hard, and I'm proud of that. So we're moving forward.
Did Brett throw to your guys today?
No, I just in pre-practice.
That's got to be neat for
It's unbelievable. It really is for those guys to go out there. And Hayden Hurst looked at me and said, "I'm catching a pass from Brett Favre. How neat is that?" And so it was all before practice started. That our receivers and tight ends went out there and caught some balls from him, just kind of a pat and go situation, and he loved it. I mean, he can still spin it. I can tell you that right now.
8 practices this year as opposed to 8 practices a year ago, just light years ahead of where you guys were.
It is. It's night and day. I think more than anything, as much as we've got some depth on the offensive line. We've got some depth in the front 7, and not at linebacker, but certainly in our front 4. We've got more depth at defensive back. We've got more options as far as skill guys are concerned. So absolutely, we've got to have that experience back. I think understand a little bit more what we're expecting as far as how practice needs to be administered and run, and improving every day. You either get better or worse. I tell the guys all the time, you never stay the same. So we got to continue to improve, and I feel like we've seen some of that.
How's Zach at right tackle, and how's the battle at left guard?
Well, I think that Zach's definitely a guy that feels comfortable at right tackle. I mean, obviously it's a learning curve when you're going from a confined area as a guard, and now you're moving on the edge. But I've been pleased with his progress. Had a really good day yesterday, and we'll watch the film from today. Blake Camper's doing extremely well. Blake's playing his best football since we've been here. And left guard Donnell and DJ both need to be more consistent. That's bottom line. Just need to be more consistent day in, day out. Malik and Sedaris are battling it out at left tackle. So we've got some competition, which again is our best friend as coaches, because you got some guys that know they got to go perform every single day. And I told the team we need to have an everything is important attitude. Every time you line up, it's important. Every snap is important. And that's going to promote more consistency in your play. And I think we've seen that certainly improve.
With the wide receiver position banged up like it is, are any of the younger guys stepping up at all? And does that slow the development of the passing game some?
Well, it has, and it's been a little bit frustrating. But, Ortre and Brian really have taken part in all the individual stuff and a lot of the skeleton stuff, just not the full 11 on 11. So and Ortre did today, and he's progressing extremely well. Corey Banks has done some nice things. Chevy Dawkins has done some nice things. Terry Guger has. We need to be more consistent to those positions. I think Debo Samuel's having an outstanding spring. I've been extremely pleased with him and how he's come out and worked. So those things have done well. I think Jake's had a good spring to 8 practices in.
Where is Jake right now in terms of recognizing and organizing your protections
Well,
as opposed to the end of last year?
Well, we are now in a position, if we show an overload look defensively, he's able to change the protection. He's able to change the back. He's able to get the back lined up. He's able to point out and change the mic. I mean, all of those things he's able to do now, where last year, we weren't able to. And so we're able to be much more multiple formation-wise, attack-wise, and certainly more variety and protections to make sure we are protected. He understands where his hots are. He understands where he's got to get rid of the football. And I think that is just going to continue to grow and grow and grow.
When you say you didn't do it last year, do you mean he didn't do it well enough, or you just didn't let him change
Well,
protections?
we called and hauled a lot of it, Josh.
Okay.
And then just you call it and haul it, and sometimes, like right now we're carrying package runs to the line of scrimmage. You're able to get in and out of a run game. You're able to go from a run to a pass. So we have much more experience at being able to do that. Now, a lot of that goes back to the second year in the scheme, too.
Right.
And so the terminology, not just for Jake, but for everybody, the running back position, the tight end position, now where there's a lot more understanding of what we're going to be able to do moving forward. But certainly Jake's a calming factor with that.
What's happening with the backup, and how comfortable do you think you'll be when the season gets here with whoever is the backup?
Well, Michael's, can throw the ball extremely well. He missed an entire year with the labrum, and so you miss an entire year of taking snaps and reading the coverages and doing all the things you do. So really, it's his first year in the scheme and system, but he can throw it. And then Jay Urich was here today, and certainly will be here in the fall to go compete. And Bailey and Danny have done some nice things, so we're going to need to have some other alternative looks to what we need to do. So we'll continue to work through that. Right now, like I said earlier, it's a little frustrating because we're kind of hit and miss a little bit with some of the skill guys offensively. We don't throw anything off. We're trying to continue to teach our scheme and system right now.
Debo told us the other day that before Brandon left, there was an exchange between him and Kurt in practice. Did that have any? Do you know if that had any impact in his decision?
Again, Brandon and I had a really good conversation. I respect his decision. Totally understand and appreciate his contributions to South Carolina, and we wish him the best.
Do you expect to work more on a Wildcat package, given that you now don't have a guy who naturally does that?
Josh, I think we got to have some alternatives to some situational ball. That's something we're working through. Mm-hmm.
With Rico getting kind of into his second year at running back and adding Tyson, does that improve your guys' ability to keep running backs in for pass protection as compared to sending them out?
Well, I think, again, that's one of the learning curves for a young back. They've never been asked to protect. Of course, Rico played quarterback in high school, so he's never played running back before. So, but no, I think that's always a learning curve to understand the protections. And I think last year at times we had a hard time with the quarterback being even to they were just trying to do their job. Mm-hmm. And now, again, we've expanded so much at that position to move forward with it. So there's no question we're able to do much more in protection. I think those guys have done a really nice job. A.J. Turner has had a hamstring, and I forgot about A.J., but he's, again, A.J.'s a really good football player. Now, he has not practiced this spring. I'm hoping to get him back next week, but we want to be careful with that. You don't want to let that thing linger, and we want to make sure he's full speed before he gets back. So, you got three guys that have played really good football, in Division I. So that's pretty good for us.
Do you think you'll be able to keep Debo in the slot?
Well, we're going to move him around. I think you got to be able to move him some different spots. You can't let him in one spot and people be able to take him away all the time. So he's doing some stuff for us outside and inside. Yep.
Briefly mentioned Frank, but Frank mentioned, he was joking with us a couple of weeks ago, that you guys kind of very similar in the way you run practice, the way you approach life. Just for him to accomplish what happened last night.
That's awesome. Since 1973, I was in shock when Coach Tanner told me that's because I know we've had some really good basketball teams here and some great coaches, and so really happy for Frank. Certainly, in my opinion, is expected as far as where they are with their program. And extremely, extremely happy for him. I think the world of the guy and the job he does and what he represents and how he represents the University of South Carolina, and certainly pulling for him on Sunday, that's for sure. Now, Henson, I'm going to continue to recruit for Frank, I guess. I coached him for those first two shots in the SEC game against Alabama. Frank coached him on the air ball. All right, so make sure we understand that.
Could Dwayne Nonis play safety for you?
There's no doubt. Felder can play corner. Yeah. I could outfit a team.
Must be tough recruiting for two programs.
No doubt. No doubt. Dawn's asking me to do something.
Will you get a chance to go up there tomorrow to watch? Or?
I'm gonna try. Right now we've been so busy. We've gone 3 days in a row, kind of from purposely for me to push our guys through it. I wanted to go. Thursday was a very physical day. Friday was more of a loose downs, 1 minute situational third down, and today was a very physical day. And we needed that. We needed to grind them through that. And I appreciate how our guys responded.
Think you can get a ticket?
I don't know. I know Coach Tanner was scrambling. I don't know. I hadn't heard from him.
Well, what about your defensive line pass rushing? How's that been?
We need to improve, and we need to get better. We need more fast twitch up front. We got to get more edge guys. We've got to continue to improve. I've been very pleased with Dennis Wong. He's had a good spring for us. Dante's done some nice things for us. Danny Fennell has had 2 back-to-back good practices for us. We've got to have him come along for us. So Taylor's done some nice things inside, Kier and Ulrich, but we've got to get more guys we can count on up front. We are very thin from a standpoint of experience and guys we feel like we can win the SEC East with. I'm just being honest. We got to get faster twitch and we got to get better rushers.
Has Caleb Chalmers settled into a particular role in the secondary? Or are you still kind of trying to?
He's playing some different spots. He's played corner at times. We've moved him to safety, and he's played some nickel today. So, again, spring to me is all about exposing them to concepts of what we do and how we do it. And then it's our job as coaches when spring's over to say, okay, we're going to go into fall camp. Number one, what can he learn? And I'm not just talking about Caleb. I'm talking about all of them. What can he learn, and what position does he fit best for us moving forward with our defense? Because if somebody goes down, it's not about the next guy at the position. It's about the next best guy that helps us win games. And so we try to expose them as much as possible. And sometimes it's very frustrating for us as coaches and as a player in the spring because of how much we throw at them. But again, I'd rather do that now when we're not having to prepare for a game and you're able to expose them to things. So when you get in the season, you do have an injury, you're putting the best guy out there.
Coach, schematically, with the back 7 on defense, are you noticing anything more with the confidence compared to last year? Are they communicating a little bit more?
No doubt. I think DJ Smith and Stephen Montack have done a nice job. Jalen Dickerson's a guy it's a freshman. I've been very, very pleased with Jalen. He's done some nice things. Javon Charleston, we've moved full-time from receiver to defensive back. He's playing safety. He's got a lot of range. He can really run. He needs to continue to come on for us. We've got to continue to develop more at that position. We've got a good battle going on at corner. I think Rashad Fenton's playing his best ball since we've been here at the corner position. He's been the most consistent since we've been here. Jamarcus King has gotten stronger. You can see that. And Chris Lamont was hurt a couple days, but he should be back next week. But it's been very productive for us at corner and nickel, and so that's a positive. We got to have more guys as we move forward there.
Left tackle, Sedarius and Malik, how's that?
Well, they're battling it out. I mean, I think that both guys, again, from a technical standpoint, moving from right to left seems no big deal. It is a big deal. The sets are different, and some of the rushers are different on that side. So, but I think Malik's adjusted well. They need to be more consistent. And Sedarius, again, is just a young player that I think on his official visit weighed 245. He's 310 right now. So you've gone through that change of your body. He's a powerful athlete, and he's continuing to learn the game, and he's going to be a really good player.
Does having those 2 guys at left tackle sort of speak to the baseline level of athleticism you want there, and you're almost willing to sort of say, we'll start there and then build them up? Absolutely. Athleticism and length. You're asking these guys, and no offense to them, they're blocking some of the best big skill athletes in the country. And when you got to go set the edges against Myles Garrett and those guys, it's hard. It's very, very difficult. And so you've got to have length, you've got to have athleticism, you also got to be a smart football player, because a lot of times understanding the stance of a defensive end, or where his hands are, or how wide he is, or where the 3 technique is, a lot of those things you've got to be able to recognize. We're continuing to work through that. When you talk in terms of inexperience, that lends to some mistakes in sets.
Are Tyson and Rico kind of a 1 and 1A, or are you hoping one will really emerge?
Oh, I don't. Right now, we're putting them all in there. Mon Denson had some nice runs today. A.J. Turner's been out, but I expect A.J. to be back, who's been a quality football player for us. Rico's in there. Mon Denson and Adrian McGee's a walk-on for us. Did some nice job. So we just put them in there right now. I'm not real worried about that. I know they're quality players.
How did the players respond to hear Favre talk about Brooks and Sharp and Sidney Rice?
Well, that was with our the coaches clinic last night. So it was interesting to hear him talk about those guys, and it kind of dawned. I think when he was sitting up there, he said, 3 of the best receivers I've ever had. Sidney Rice and Robert Brooks and Sterling Sharp. I texted Sterling this morning. He's already texted me back. So, but it's good to for him to hear him talk about those guys being from South Carolina.
Thanks, buddy.
All right.